All right, time for a little bit of pre-market breakdown. So a small recap in what we had posted yesterday real quick. We have all the labels still here so we can go over it real fast. Anything over the 600.47 was long to as high as 62.48, and we said 603 area yesterday, right? That'd be a great magnet. So that came through. We had our over under set. We even labeled anything under 600 no plays for trend, right? Only dip by area, long hold watches. We gave that to the GP. Obviously, a little bit of an algo sweep there at the bottom, and right back to our regular scheduled program as we hoped. You can see the Fibonacci from this algo right here, right? 1618. So obviously, you get out, watch for the 100 in the GPs, boom, Fibonacci, all the way back to boom, 2618 to the penny, boom, back to the zero, and almost to the 3618 from the algo, right? And that brings us to, you guessed it, let's extend this over CPI time. So as we posted in chat and the last couple days on YouTube, we had a overly large macro bias that started right here. And we said if we are inside the 599.43 candle along with Thursday's no tag GP of 599, we were going to do what? Go right to the golden pocket, right? And that's what we talked about for the last few days on YouTube. And that was the call. Clearly, we opened and closed the last couple days above said levels, right? So we have now popped in, and if you notice, we did tag this with a little bit of algo love here last night as well. So the GP started right there at 603.60, and then of course went all the way to 606.18. And those were our targets. As long as we are over 598, the Fibonacci will pop up here. Where is 606.18? Oh, well, imagine that. The top of the CPI. So these fibs are going to be live tag needs as we posted in Discord. And as we already discussed the opening trade play where CPI would pop into here, but we need live tags. So we called this little cluster right here with yesterday's highs in Discord and said CPI will sell down. So as CPI came into the long target right here, we said in our Discord that we would sell this down to yesterday's highs, no gap and go, no momentum plays, no nothing. It's going to stay under said GP as we discussed for last week as well. But if you do remember, if you do forget, we need live tags, and it's the third or second day rather after all time high, right? We keep saying third, 221. So this is where we got that level. Anything above 599.43 goes to 608.18. That is the Fibonacci that we had on deck for the last, couple weeks when we were talking about the loop. Came into the 100 and then must tag GP because that is one of the last GPs we have before. Now, if we would have got that downside to gap fill, we would have been long to this target, but that's okay. No big deal. So for the open, our prediction is going to be exactly what we called in Discord. Anything for live tags, right? And now yesterday's highs, it could leave a gap open. It doesn't matter to me. We already got the entire 80-some point sell from the call short here, lower high here from the CPI all the way back down. Now these need live tags. The one thing that we are banking on for that magnet mixed with the CPI is our pink Fibonacci right here, right? So we had a high low here on Thursday, and the 1618 needed a tag. And again, we said with the mixture of 221's candle that we just went over, above 599.43 and 598.98, which is pretty much 599, anything will be chasing down the 1618 and chasing down the fib. So the magnet from Thursday's candle, 1618, needs a live tag, right? We obviously shied it yesterday. And then we had the CPI push, which would be a great long trap, as we've discussed. So this is the magnet area of the short we called in Discord, and we said this CPI pop will sell, and we're going to come down to yesterday's highs area. So from that top of the GP, we got on short right here, all the way down, 80-some points so far. From that TPD top call, and then we're going to get maybe a little bit more. I do want you guys to pay attention to the QQQ side of things here, just in case we start selling and you want targets for the Qs. Now, the QQQ here also had a 1 minute gap left open, if you didn't see it, right here, 532.86. Right there, okay? What else was left right there? Well, imagine that. 5 minute double fair value gap that has one breach of the top candle right here near the end of the day. So if a sell continues, and that hard sell could continue quite good here, we are going to see an opportunity to break down some of these and, again, fill the gap QQQ doesn't have to fill the gap. We always look for that SPY, of course. But the 1 minute gap is also way down by the Trump candle. Because again, in our Discord, we had suffered this beautiful tweet right here. And I said, it's just a nothing burger. Don't even play it. You can momentum buy the dips, into the GP, and that's it. That's all we talked about in Discord, because if you high-low this, as we already said in Discord, it's just going to trap right at the golden pocket till CPI, which happened there nicely. Now, when we see these algos kind of slam back down after the pop, we're going to be very adamant on a couple things. The weekly support and that 1 minute gap are damn near overlapped. And then if you are using the little range of the Trump high-low tweet as well, you would see that we do have a back test of the 100 fib, right? Coming. So anything under the 1618 standard Fibonacci practice brings us down to the 100. So we do have yet another small magnet helping from the Trumpster, and then of course a lower GP tag here. So we let that 10 SMA catch up. We get some beautiful lower highs. Qs does whatever it wants, and we short the SPY down to yesterday's highs. For the open, even though we're pretty much down, we had one little tiny runner. We're at 4,300 bucks on those. Again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 on the prop accounts. So we're well into the green day. We can slow down and get some of the small ones now for some of these fills. So what it looks like on the NQ here as well is not too much different, but it does have a little bit different moving averages as always, and psychological whole $0.50. So I do want a back test of this big psychological 22,000 as well. So that's kind of the last little piece of the pie here, where of course, right about yesterday's highs right here, we had the Trump debacle pinned and then pushed, and we did 106 points after that 22,000. So now coming back down to hitting the 10 SMA first tag pushes us back up again, and then lower high potential back to back test the 22,000 that we have broke over. So we have a really good magnet psychological level. We have good magnets off the CPI fibs, so on and so forth. So that's the play we are looking at. We have already did the mega short there in the call, and I think we have SPY gifting us a very nice opportunity for 603.88. And then on the SPY side of things, we're calling this lower high here down to highs about 23 points down, so not bad at all. So look for that short. We're going to consistently stay under. Now, with that being said, don't know where my VIX chart is, but let's make a new one. All right, bring the volatility index over here, and then this whole kind of opportune 17 break was what we needed, right? We were talking about this for a couple days now. 17, 17, 17. We had a couple light breaks through 17. Then we had a little higher low. Then we had the little algo blip here, which is a higher high. Doesn't matter. So we can take that into consideration for a fib because it is, intraday algo. I'm talking about the higher high that didn't matter as much, not the fib. But that little piece right there sets us at, oh, lo and behold, the exact point where we started to find support because algo fib. And now we can look for that continuation under 17 and under yesterday's lows for a completed leak, right? So if we go to the daily chart here, that 17 was very hefty. That was a big prior support area. And then you can see over here to the left here, some of these big breakup candles where we had, again, some big VIX momentum, came back down to the GP before we had our last huge VIX run. Those candles can fill back up. So if we do stay under some of this mass support you see on the daily here, if you make a little chart, that's obviously $17. That matches with the GP right here. It matches with the support it found at 17. And then for the last 4 days, 17. It has been consistently holding good price level. Now we're snapped under that and momentum moving. Great. Let's hope the VIX can give us a slight pop here at open, or just stand still as the market comes down to our short call of yesterday's highs, and we'll watch progression under 17 on the VIX, and our final targets for shorting CPI be yesterday's highs. If it goes any lower than that, watch that 1 minute gap down here, QQQ. It's quite far away, but I'm shorting the Qs right now all the way down to yesterday's highs, close, and then potentially the GP live tag of the Trump candle. That's it.